Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to Dreamworks Switch to Life. And in today's video, we're actually going to be reviewing one of the Shrek short films, that of course being The Ghost of Lord Farquad, which actually isn't so much a short film as it is a thrill ride experience. Originally, it was called Shrek 4D, and it used to be one of those movies where you would sit in a seat at a theme park and then a bunch of stuff would happen to you as the characters go through the movie. For instance, your chair would move around giving a flying sensation, or maybe bumpy, or maybe hot air being sprayed in your face, or water. Sometimes a crawling sensation for like spiders or something. And I honestly would have loved to experience this ride for myself back when it was available. But unfortunately, it got shut down and replaced with Kung Fu Panda: The Emperor's Quest. And then that got shut down and replaced with Dreamworks Theater, which is literally the same thing. Now, one thing that I want you to keep in mind, there are like 12 separate Shrek short films in the franchise. I am not going to be reviewing all of them, just the ones that are more than 11 minutes. One thing that I really should mention, however, is that this short film probably isn't canon to the main timeline, in the fact that they literally break the fourth wall.
I know I seen you die in the first movie.
Not to mention the fact that they don't reference the events of this in Scared Shrekless, which also brings up the ghost of Lord Farquad. So, if you're wondering when this takes place, it takes place after the first Shrek movie and before the second, just before Shrek and Fiona's honeymoon, which, again, is at the start of the second Shrek movie. So, I gotta say that I kind of both loved and hated the animation. Sometimes it's obvious that this is meant to be a thrill ride experience, and other times it looks just like a normal Shrek movie. I also really enjoyed the music, which obviously this didn't really have its own music, it just took the music from the movie, but still really good. I also really enjoyed the voice acting, because I'm really glad that they got Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and John Lithgow to reprise their roles from the original Shrek movie. Now it's on to the story, and I gotta say that I kind of liked the story, but it's really great for a 4D experience, not so good when compared to a Shrek movie. It's just not that good. So, on to the story. On their way to their honeymoon, Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona end up lost in the woods, at which point Thelonious, the guy who works for Lord Farquad, ends up kidnapping Fiona, which leads to Shrek and Donkey starting a chase sequence.
Cut to the chase, Donkey, just cut to the chase! Hit it, boy!
Unfortunately, Shrek and Donkey end up crashing the carriage into a graveyard, where they discover that the one behind the plot is the ghost of Lord Farquad, who is actually trying to get Fiona to die so that they can be married together in the afterlife, at which point Farquad becomes the king of the underworld. And I just gotta say, how the heck does that even make sense? I get that in the original movie, Lord Farquad needed to marry a princess so he could become a king. How does killing and then marrying a living princess make you king of the underworld? I just don't understand that plot. And then there's also the fact that in the original movie, he actually despised Fiona due to her looks because she was an ogre. Why would he want to marry Princess Fiona now that she's, one, already married, and two, the fact that she's an ogre? Why not just pick a random princess who's not married, who actually looks good, and then you can rule as king and queen of the underworld or whatever? Anyway, back to the story. Because Shrek and Donkey are trying to save Fiona from dying, that means that Farquaad sends a stone dragon after them, at which point Donkey calls Elizabeth, who is the main dragon of the franchise, and which point they also have a chase sequence where they eventually make the stone dragon lose its wings, at which point, since it can't fly, the chase is over. So Shrek and Donkey manage to get to the waterfall where where Lord Farquad is trying to get Fiona killed, at which point Shrek and Donkey manage to save the day at the last possible moment, and then they end up making it so that Lord Farquad actually dies again, thanks to Elizabeth's dragonfire breath. At which point they end up going to the castle where Shrek and Fiona are going to have their honeymoon, and Donkey and Elizabeth leave, at which point Donkey says,
Let's go home and make some waffles.
Now, what's funny about that line is that in the second movie, Dragon is actually pregnant, and at the end of it, we learn that they actually have little mutant donkey dragon babies, or dronkies, and one of the dronkies is actually named Waffles. Yep, you heard me right. Anyway, Shrek ends up saying, let the honeymoon begin, and thus the short film actually ends. And I gotta say that while the short film would have been really cool to experience as a 4D ride, it's just not that good. There are so many inconsistencies that there's just no way that this one short film is actually canon. Still, it's definitely worth watching due to the high quality animation, voice acting, and not to mention the fact that it's just an overall fun experience, and it's only 11 minutes long, so what's the harm? And that right there is the end of my review for Shrek the Ghost of Lord Farquad. I hope that you guys enjoyed this review, and more importantly, the actual short film. If you made it to this part of the video, be sure to comment down below what your favorite installment in the Shrek franchise is, be it a short film or anything from the Puss in Boots spin-off series. Speaking of, I'm going to be making a review for Shrek 2 in the coming month to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the film. So make sure to subscribe so you can watch that and to keep up to date with all things Dreamworks. Above all else, make sure you're staying safe out there, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.
I'm not afraid. What a crack up.